The white middle class, as we know it today, was artificially created. And it was created through government policy and legislation, most notably the New Deal and the GI Bill of 1944. Now, prior to these pieces of legislation, America was pretty much a third world country. For the most part, you were either rich or poor. There was no middle class. But because of these government policies, alongside with the fact that the descendants of the formerly enslaved were by and large blocked out of taking advantage of these programs, within a matter of one generation, the dominant society went from struggling to a booming middle class. What I'm attempting to do with today's video is to prepare you for the abandoning of reparations by the Congressional Black Caucus and the repackaging of it through Joe Biden's Rising Tide Lift All Ships policies, most notably his infrastructure bill that they keep going on and on about. Now, many of you may remember this article, and that's the one on your screen right now titled, "Biden Privately Tells Lawmakers Not to Expect Much on Reparations Legislation." On June 1st, Biden delivered a speech to commemorate the 100th anniversary of the Tulsa Race Massacre at the Greenwood Cultural Center, and the very next day, on June 2nd, this article was released. Now, I'm going to read a little bit of this article to you right now, and then we'll carry on with the discussion. As a candidate, Biden said he supported a commission on reparations, but the administration has yet to endorse the actual bill. After his speech Tuesday, the president met with the members of the Congressional Black Caucus who brought up the need for H.R. 40, which is named after the 40 acres and a mule promise that now symbolizes the lack of support formerly enslaved people received from the federal government. According to those involved in the conversation, Biden let them down gently. He didn't disagree with what we're doing, said Representative Brenda Lawrence, the second vice chair of the Congressional Black Caucus. He did talk about his plate being full with trying to get the infrastructure bill passed, and that he really wanted to make sure that he could get that through before he took on anything else. Biden's biggest concern on H.R. 40, Lawrence said, is getting it through the Senate. The bill also hasn't been scheduled for a full floor vote in the House, where it has 188 co-sponsors. In this article, they are very literally telling you, forget about reparations. It's not happening because we're focused on the infrastructure bill. And you can rest assured that this infrastructure bill will take the majority of Biden's 4-year term to pass. So now the goal is to get you to forget about reparations and focus on getting behind these rising tide lift all ships policies, from the Green New Deal to Biden's infrastructure bill. And that will be your reparations. Now, first and foremost, please make sure you watch out for these BS surveys that come out of the Congressional Black Caucus PAC, because this is how they trip you up. This survey is called Official Congressional Black Caucus PAC Priority Survey, and it reads as such. In your opinion, which issues are most important for the Congressional Black Caucus to focus on in 2021? Police reform, healthcare reform, gun control reform, climate change, LGBTQ+ rights, women's rights, increasing the minimum wage, child care and family leave policy, reduction of student loan debt, tax breaks for middle-class families, protecting voting rights, investing in public education, and other. Where is reparations on this list? They don't even give you an option to fill in what you'd like them to focus on when you check other. Every one of these options here directly tie with policy that the Democrats were already going to push to sign into law. That way they can say, we gave Black America what they wanted. They wanted the Green New Deal. They wanted the infrastructure bill. And with that, they'll tell you how Black America prioritized all these issues over reparations. This is the game that's being played here. Understand, the purpose of the Congressional Black Caucus is not to craft and push to pass policy that actually benefits Black America. Their purpose is to maintain our current political and economic order by keeping Black Americans in a state of political confusion. Now, following that political article, look at this tweet that Jamaal Bowman posted on June 17th. We waited 156 years for Juneteenth recognition. We won't wait 156 years for reparations. We won't wait 156 years for housing justice. Okay. We won't wait 156 years for environmental justice. Okay. Let's stop. So you're telling me after the end of chattel slavery, the former slaves were pursuing environmental justice? That's really what we're saying right now. They wanted the Green New Deal? Is that what they were looking for coming out of slavery? Now, here's what's most important about this tweet, okay? I want you to look at the reply that's underneath. I deliberately blurred out the young woman's name because there's no need for people to get crazy and go and attack her, because she's confused. Remember, all of this is about creating political confusion. I feel like student loan forgiveness belongs in here somewhere. I guess that would tie in with reparations. I repeat, I guess that would tie into reparations. She isn't even sure herself about what she's saying right now. Look at the political confusion that Jamaal Bowman and the Congressional Black Caucus are creating. This young woman believes that some way, somehow, general student loan forgiveness is reparations. It's no knock on her, because it's politicians like Jamaal Bowman that are deliberately sowing the seeds of confusion. And with all this confusion going on, now any and everything is reparations except for actual reparations. Now, some of you might think that I'm reaching right now with this tweet, but if that's true, then how do you explain this video of Jamaal Bowman saying this?
Roland, there are people who care about a variety of issues, who call my office daily and write my office daily to make sure I pay attention to those issues. Our community needs to do the same thing, whether it's the NAACP, the Urban League, Color of Change. Every group needs to come together and apply pressure on the White House, the House, and the Senate. And the infrastructure bill is a big part of it, because they're trying to go smaller when we need to go bigger, because this, in my opinion, is our reparations moment. They didn't give us anything with the Homestead Act. They didn't give us anything with the New Deal and Social Security and the GI Bill. We have to continue to apply pressure on a day-to-day basis so that they respond to our demands.
So now Joe Biden's infrastructure bill is your reparations moment. This is highly egregious because in no way, shape, form, or fashion is this reparations. Now, let me explain to you what Jamaal Bowman is very disingenuously trying to articulate here. The white middle class, as we know it today, was artificially created. And it was created through government policy and legislation, most notably the New Deal and the GI Bill of 1944. Now, prior to these pieces of legislation, America was pretty much a third world country. For the most part, you were either rich or poor. There was no middle class. But because of these government policies, alongside with the fact that the descendants of the formerly enslaved were by and large blocked out of taking advantage of these programs, within a matter of one generation, the dominant society went from struggling to a booming middle class. In one generation, this happened. It had nothing to do with financial literacy and prioritizing the way they spend their money. Nobody was getting shamed for not supporting white businesses, and nobody had to struggle, fight, and die because I may not get to the promised land with you, but one day maybe my grandchildren will. No. That's not what happened. You see, because of those programs, they got to grow old and watch their family and their people go from this to this. All because of government policy and the exclusion of the descendants of American slavery, which eliminated having to compete for resources. Now, somebody please explain to me how Joe Biden's infrastructure bill is the same thing. The bills that Jamaal Bowman rattled off concerning the Homestead Act, the GI Bill, the New Deal, all of these bills exclusively benefited the dominant society while excluding the descendants of American slavery. So how in the world is Joe Biden's infrastructure bill the same thing, let alone reparations? That statement is beyond outrageous. You see, as far as politics are concerned, you stay losing because of politicians like Jamaal Bowman, Cori Bush, Ayanna Pressley, and of course the old guard. As I've stated in numerous videos now, these conversations can no longer solely exist online. They are going to have to materialize into real-world organization. If this cannot be accomplished, then you can expect to see more Jamaal Bowmans to appear over time, walking us off of a political cliff. And they will be doing it very deliberately while pretending to be so compassionate and fighting so fierce for Black America, when they're actually fighting to maintain the current political and economic order. And with all that being said, that does it for today's video. So please make sure you hit that subscribe button as well as the bell notification next to the subscribe button so you can be notified whenever I release a new video. All social media links will be pinned in the comment section below. Also, remember, don't forget to text tdhiphop to number 33222. That's tdhiphop to number 33222. That way you'll get a direct text message whenever I release a new video, but it also serves as a protection plan for myself. So in case YouTube ever gives this channel the axe, I'll be able to send you a direct link to where you can find me next. And for all of you who have a love and appreciation for the work that I put in on this channel, the number one way you can show your support is through Patreon. For only $3 a month, that will help put me in position to be able to take TD Hip Hop Media off of YouTube. Remember, the goal is not to grow big on YouTube, but to grow independent of YouTube. And if you haven't already, please make sure you sign up to the emailing list, which will also be pinned in the comment section below as well as in the description. It is not possible for me to go independent of YouTube if I am unable to take the audience with me. So please make sure you sign up for the emailing list if you have not done so already. Thank you for your time, and until the next video, peace.